Normally, when we begin reviews, we start off with some clever joke or anecdote or talk about the automobile's history to make sense of it all at the very beginning and then jump into the exterior immediately. However, in this case, I think it's more than important to jump right into the exterior without any ado, because the only coherent thing I've been able to come up with when describing this automobile is pretty. It's so pretty. Oh, pretty. Do you need help purchasing your car insurance? Head on over to AutoDeal.com.ph/car-insurance. Here, you can compare prices and customize your insurance coverage from many of the Philippines' top providers. When you've selected the insurance that's best for you, simply fill out the application and complete the transaction with ease through Visa, MasterCard, GCash, GrabPay, or PayPal, and receive your policy within the next business day. Get the best deal on insurance with AutoDeal. This is the 2022 Lexus IS 300h Premier. Now, it is definitely a facelifted model because this unit has, well, been around for roughly about 8 years. The most obvious changes of the facelift would definitely be on the exterior, some interior, and the drive as well. The question we want to answer today is that facelift really enough to carry it into the times of today, or is its age really starting to show underneath these beautiful lines? The biggest change on the front clip has to deal with a little bit of give a little and take a little. Give a little in the sense that the grille now is much larger, as you can see, and then the take a little is that now the L Finesse DRL is now incorporated into the headlamp. It's no longer separated. Inside, you'll find auto-leveling LED headlamps underneath these extremely striking DRLs. Truth be told, it just says so much with really so little. Down the side, one of my favorite aspects is this side mirror, which looks like it's shaped by the wind. I absolutely love that. And then you've got chrome accents found around the window sills, a little bit more chrome here on the side mirrors, and then this nice, beautiful black garnish found down below. The car sits above about 140 millimeters of ground clearance. Not much, so definitely not a 4x4 vehicle, if you know what I mean. One of my other favorite aspects about this automobile are these beautiful wheels. 19s wrapped in 40 series tires, 235 the width. It just looks absolutely stunning. The stance of the automobile, even if this tire is at an angle, but the general stance of the automobile with these cars, or on this car, is just, I don't know, it's just perfect. It's amazing. At the rear, the taillights are smoked, giving a very elegant look. And then you've got a light that stretches the entire width of the automobile. This, however, is just a park light. These are your brake lights right here. And then twin exhausts found down below. We love twin exhausts. Yes, we do. Now, this is a little bit of a talking point between Jack and I, because if you look at the car square on, I'm not digging this massive lip right here. It's very 86, it's very Supra, but undoubtedly, when you're looking at it at an angle, it's just absolutely gorgeous. There are almost no angles on this automobile that we don't love because it is just so pretty. From the front to the midsection to the rear, how the wind just cuts over the car, and this pushes the wind down to allow it more traction to zoom away from you. This view right here at the rear is probably all you're going to see of this car. So we figured there's gotta be something wrong with it. Well, there is. When you open her up, you will have 508 liters of space or so. Because unfortunately, this is a hybrid. That's not a bad thing. The sad thing is that the trunk space is actually occupied by the batteries of this automobile, which means that the spare tire is perpetually sitting out and can be seen and takes up a lot of cargo space. That is the only part that actually truly sucks. However, as I mentioned, this is a hybrid system, so there is a very huge compensation. At the heart of it all, you are looking at a 2.5-liter 4-cylinder naturally aspirated engine mated to an electric motor that produces 220 horses and 300 newton-meters of torque, mounted on a CVT. Now, I know what you're thinking. This is an IS, and an IS 300 without a 6-cylinder is just odd because obviously it had the most popular 6-cylinder when it first came out.
2JZ engine, no sh.
But it's evident that in this particular IS, they're looking towards more fuel efficiency and comfort rather than outright oomph. If you are looking for that outright oomph, there is always the IS 350F Sport, which is available in the country. Unfortunately, the IS 500 is not available, and that thing's just redonkulous. You know what else is redonkulous? The fuel efficiency of this automobile. Combined figure city and highway is 19 kilometers per liter. Inside heavy traffic inside the city, 12 kilometers per liter. That's better than my diesel Montero. Before we get in, notice this bit right here and the fact that this is in Jack's normal driving position. Because if I were Jack's height getting into the rear seats, it might be quite of an issue for him. However, when he does get inside, or anybody that's 6 feet tall rather, they will still have a lot of headroom to contend with. Now, again, I'm showing you that this is Jack's normal driving position, but it's a case of if there's a tall person up front and a short person in the back, it's fine. So because if that represents my normal driving position and I were Jack, so a tall person in the back still would have a lot of space. However, putting a third passenger inside this automobile, or rather, yeah, a third rear passenger, I'm not sure that this is the greatest of ideas because, yeah, that doesn't work. So let's leave it at a capacity of 4 persons. Now, back to my seat. There are some good textures that are found on the door. It changes it up. You've got soft material up here, some faux wood here. It's actually pretty plastic. But down below, it's the more durable plastic that you don't expect in such a premium automobile. And I figure that's actually not a bad thing if it's down below, because when you get in and out of the automobile, if your foot touches it, it's actually very easy to clean. So there's that. Toys back here include 2 air vents found in the center, which is perfect because you can only put 2 people back here, essentially. You've got a center armrest with cup holders right there. Unfortunately, no bottle holders on the door. This is the first car I think I've reviewed that there are no bottle holders on the door. Thank God that there are cup holders there. But you do have a dome light and map lights for your left and right passengers. Lastly is the seating positions. You can't recline them. You have access to the rear, but you can't recline them or seat them forward. To be honest with you, other people might find that it's a bit upright. To me, actually, I enjoy the fact that it is quite upright because, well, it's not just the driver that's engaged in the automobile. You too are engaged with the automobile and how the driver drives. And yet at the same time, you don't feel like a slouch in the back. It's not uncomfortable by any means necessarily. No, not at all. It's just, I like it because, well, it's ergonomically correct. And the bolsters are pretty good too. Now, on to the business end, and truth be told, everything is quite similar to the previous model because it's not essentially a new car, right? It's a facelift. Everything is nice and within reach, and everything is ergonomically done well for the driver, except maybe for the placement of the parking brake, because it's not here, it's actually, well, you gotta reach for it right there. But anyway, I like the fact that there are physical controls to get to whatever it is that you want inside the automobile very quickly. I understand that in this day and age, it's all about touchscreens and large screens and whatnot, but every once in a while, it's nice to see mechanical buttons because, you know, it feels good to the touch and I can get to things very, very quickly. Everything is laid out pretty well, and the color scheme actually is very nice, except for this piano black area right here. It is literally the only area that has piano black. I mean, you could have, share a little. So there's that. One thing that I really find cool is the fact that there's an analog clock found dead center. I don't know why, but that just adds so much class, don't you think? This whole center stack area is similar to that of the Lexus RC. You can find the controls for the radio here, as well as controls for your dual zone climate with this quirky touch-sensitive up and down control for the temperature. It's a shame that it's all piano black, like I said, especially given that, again, it's literally the thing that you're going to be touching most. So, unfortunately, expect it to be covered in fingerprints and dust. The dash itself is similar to the previous iteration of the IS with nice soft touch materials all throughout. The main difference here is how the infotainment is integrated. See, it used to be within the dashboard itself. Now it kinda, well, it stands out. Sort of like me playing center for the Knicks. But then I wouldn't stand out. Wait, that doesn't work, does it? Although its placement is new, I wish I could say the same thing for the system itself. It still runs, however, on the previous version of Lexus's infotainment system. It is pretty responsive though, whether you're using touch inputs or the trackpad down below. The resolution and colors aren't so great, unfortunately. It's a bit rough around the edges and, well, it kind of lacks a little contrast. The CD player does show a little bit of age, but it does have Apple CarPlay and Android Auto to, I guess, counter that. You've got power seats for the driver and the front passenger, which is actually very nice. And then the fact that the steering wheel moves to you and away from you, whether you turn the car on or off. Another cool feature is that it's got cooled seats. Yes, cooled seats for this sedan. And not just air that comes here from the bottom, but from the backrest as well, which is, I like that a lot because I don't think I've ever felt that before. Normally it just comes from down below. And then you've got power memory seats that are buttons right here. The only thing that may show its age a little bit is the fact that in the instrument cluster, you've got analog gauges for your speedometer and tachometer that flanks a small digital chip computer. A full digital display would have been nice, but truth be told, it goes well with the analog clock, so I really have no qualms with it at all. Let's go out for a drive and see what this thing is like on the road. But before we do help us out by liking and subscribing to our channel because we create these videos just for you. I'm at a loss for words already, Jack. Come on, let's drive. I wanna go, come on. I did point out that this has 19-inch wheels that are extremely pretty, and they are wrapped in 40 series tires. With that, I was a bit skeptical, thinking that the drive would be somewhat uncomfortable. In Filipino terms, it's matagtag. But truthfully, it's not. It's very comfortable in here. I have almost no complaints. When I say almost, because, well, the wind noise is mitigated very well, and the motorcycles on the outside, you really can't hear them. There's just the slight noise of the 40 series tires that kind of creeps in. But with that, it's actually forgivable because, well, they're 235 millimeters wide, so it's extremely stable inside this car. Look at this. We can do this all day. Well, it'll make me sick, but you can do that all day. Now, it must be said that this particular IS is the least sportiest of the IS range. Partly because, well, it's a 4-cylinder and it's got a hybrid system. But that's not to say that this car isn't fun to drive at all. Not at all. I mean, you throw it around the corner, not at the speeds that we're going at right now, obviously, but in the times that we do take a little bit of speed into a corner, it's very well planted, and there's still a lot of fun to be had when driving this car. There truly is a lot. The steering wheel to the touch feels quite good. It reminds me, truth be told, of a Honda, the Accord. The leather is good and it's smooth. Even the shifter is very, very familiar. That's odd. This is a Toyota, right? Oh, and speaking of Accord, that is the lousiest segue we've ever done. But if you would like to see a review of the Accord, I'm sure that the link is somewhere up on the screen or somewhere down below. Another thing worth mentioning is the build quality inside this automobile. It's very good. Very, very good. Everything feels solid to the touch. There are no squeaks and nothing moves about. Even you, when you're sitting down, you don't move about as well because the bolsterings of the seat are quite good. Bolsterings are there, but it's not to a sense that you get tired right away. I don't know if you've ever sat in an automobile with sports seats. They look like that, they're similar to that, but yet they're still comfortable. So what I'm trying to get at is that when you're on a long drive in these seats, thanks to the cool seats, by the way, is that you're not tired at all. Long drives, bring it on. Traffic, well, nobody really likes traffic, but if you had to, I don't think it would be an issue inside this automobile. You know, I completely forgot to mention about the EV mode inside this automobile. It's just completely seamless. And look, it's a trip. I'm traveling over 40 kilometers per hour, but the tachometer is at 0. That's pretty, but when I step on the accelerator, bam, that's where it goes again. But the nice thing about it is that you can go on full EV mode. There is a button that you can press and it goes straight to EV mode, of course, when it allows you to. And it's quite seamless, the transition from petrol engine to electric motor. It's almost as seamless as a Toyota engine. Oh, it is a Toyota engine. You know, the hybrid system inside this car, you tend to forget because, well, it's such an engaging drive that you think that it's all gasoline powered, right? But it's that hybrid engine that catches you off, and then it was able to produce, like we mentioned, 12 kilometers per liter inside heavy traffic, and so much more combined with the highway. And you tend to forget that inside this car because, well, it's got a sporty feel to it. It's not a fully electric car, and it's not going to go like a bat out of hell. I mean, it's not a Tesla, and this is obviously still a CVT, and it's not a 6-cylinder like the F-Sport. Oh, and also, in the Philippines, correct me if I'm wrong, this is the only available hybrid in its class. Not the BMs, not the Benzes. Lexus is the only one with a full hybrid system in this class. If I'm wrong, do let me know in the comments below, because I know you guys love doing that anyway. The 2022 Lexus IS 300h is definitely one of, if not the best looking car in this particular segment. Hands down. It's a facelift that's job well done, truth be told. It's bellow would even be proud. However, underneath, it's, well, yeah, it's starting to show its age. It's not exactly future-proofing itself, except maybe, of course, for the hybrid system. I mean, that's obviously state-of-the-art. But everything else, yeah. However, I will say this, priced at just a little over 3,300,000 Philippine pesos, you've got an extremely good-looking car. It's fun to drive, and then it's also extremely fuel efficient. Well, it may not be a just take my money kind of a car, but it most certainly is, I'll give you a post-dated check. Yeah. Yeah.